How's it going, my peeps? It is now time for the TNA Destination X 2012 results / review breakdown. You know, this show was freaking awesome. We just had a great pay-per-view with TNA last time, Slammiversary, and now Destination X, another great pay-per-view by TNA. I'll go into more detail, give you guys the results, and tell you why I thought this was a great show. So, the show starts off with the last chance fatal 4-way between Mason Andrews, Rubix, Lars only, and Dakota Darsow. And on commentary, we actually have Mike Tenay and Jeremy Borash this time instead of Taz. I believe Taz had something to do. He had a commitment, something like that. But yeah, Taz isn't there for this pay-per-view, so it's Jeremy Borash taking his place. So as far as this match goes, it was a great match, you know, lots of high-flying action, lots of action in general. You know, all guys got, you know, some good offense in. You know, at some point, Rubix actually hit a missile dropkick from the completely opposite side of the ring onto Dakota Darsow, I believe. Dakota Darsow was on the other turnbuckle, you know, standing up, not sitting down like, you know, when Rob Van Dam does it. And Rubix hit a dropkick all the way from there. That was a cool moment. You know, you had the guys jumping outside the ring and stuff like that. Your typical high-flying action, great little match. And the end comes where Lars only, he's about to hit his finisher on Mason Andrews, but Mason Andrews counters that with a high knee to the face and then hits the TKO for the victory. So Mason Andrews is now qualified, well, not for the Ultimate X match, but to be in the Ultimate X tournament to determine the guy that's, you know, the guys that are going to move on to the Ultimate X match. So right after he wins, Kid Kash comes out because the first match is Kid Kash versus whoever won the last chance fatal 4-way. So Kid Kash comes out, they start the match, Kid Kash starts, you know, attacking Mason Andrews. He dominates him for a good while in the match until Mason Andrews starts picking up some momentum, and eventually he wins. Well, Cash goes for his finisher, the money something. I forgot what it was, but he goes for his finisher, and Mason Andrews counters that into a roll-up and gets the pinfall victory to advance into the Ultimate X match. So the first guy in the Ultimate X is Mason Andrews. This was another good match. So 2 good matches to start off the show. That's good. But there's, you know, many more matches. And by the way, something I found funny, since Jeremy Borash is on commentary and Taz isn't there, Christy Hemme did both the announcing on this show and she also did the interviews. So I'm not sure if the interviews were pre-taped or if Christy Hemme right after doing the announcing would just run over backstage, get ready for the interview, and then once the interview's over, run back to the ring to do announcing. I'm pretty sure it was pre-taped because I don't think she would, you know, go back and forth like that, because she did a couple interviews, you know, during the show, just like Jeremy Borash does. So the first interview was Samoa Joe and Christy Hemme, and basically Samoa Joe says he doesn't look at Kurt Angle as, you know, the Olympic gold medalist or something like that. He just looks at him tonight as another 10 points to add to his I guess resume, or to his, you know, Bound for Glory series standing. And, you know, he just says he's gonna win tonight and beat Kurt Angle. And he's also asked in the beginning who he thinks is gonna win in the main event between Austin Aries and Roode. And he says he goes with a man that's achieved greatness in the past, and that's beating him, you know, beating Samoa Joe at Slammiversary. So he goes with Austin Aries just for that reason alone. And then you have another X Division title tournament, and it's Douglas Williams versus Kenny King. And Douglas Williams looks like he's put on some weight now. But anyways, he's wearing some trunks instead of, you know, his previous tights attire. He's wearing like these black trunks. I don't know. And Kenny King comes out. They have a match. This match is a little slower, obviously, because Douglas Williams is more of a technical guy, not so much high-flying, although in the match, at some point he did climb up the turnbuckle, and Kenny King was on the outside, and Douglas Williams jumped from the top turnbuckle and hit a flying knee onto Kenny King. And the winner of this match actually is Kenny King when Kenny King hits his finisher, which looks like a fireman's carry into a rock bottom / side slam. It was definitely something different, something I hadn't seen before. So yeah, so Kenny King is the second guy to advance into the Ultimate X match for the X Division Championship. And then once again, you have Christian Hemme backstage with Christopher Daniels. He talks about how, you know, his feud with AJ, and how 1 year back he was basically AJ's lackey, AJ's support system, and he was only worried about, you know, AJ and stuff like that. But now, you know, since that year, he's now been dominating and winning matches, although he hasn't been winning that many matches. And, you know, he just goes on about how, you know, AJ has this relationship with Dixie Carter and impregnated, you know, that, what's her name again? Claire, I think. I don't know, that chick in the storyline. And says AJ's the type of guy that when he's put in a tough situation or something like that, he doesn't get back up, or he decides to stay down, something like that. But bottom line, he says, you know, he's going to win tonight's match. And then another X Division title tournament, Sonjay Dutt versus Rachad Cameron. And this match was a great match too. You know, really all the matches so far have been good. And the end comes where Sonjay Dutt hits his moonsault into a double stomp from the top turnbuckle on Rachad Cameron for the victory. And, you know, just like the other matches, you had some high-flying action in this match. And you actually had Rachad Cameron put on some submission holds onto Sonjay Dutt. But Sonjay Dutt wins the match and advances. So far, we've got 3 guys announced for the Ultimate X match. And then you have actually a video update for Jesse Sorensen, and they show him with a neck brace on, and, you know, he's walking, and, you know, it's just basically an update video. And then Christy Hemme, after the update video is over, Christy Hemme announces that Jesse Sorensen's here. She says, "Give a warm welcome to Jesse Sorensen." He comes out with the neck brace, thanks to fans, says, you know, Dixie Carter asked him tonight backstage if he's feeling nervous tonight, and Jesse Sorensen told her, you know, it just feels good to feel anything because, you know, after that moonsault about a year back, well, actually, has it been a year? No, it hasn't been a year, right? After that moonsault, he wasn't feeling anything, the neck down, and basically he says he hopes Zema Ion wins the title tonight, moves on to the Ultimate X match, and wins the title so he can take the championship off of him. And after that, he gets out of the ring, and then Zema Ion comes out and basically mocks him, taunts him, you know, pretends that his neck is hurting or something like that. And it's time for Zema Ion's qualifying match. It's Zema Ion versus Flip Cassanova, the same guy that broke the other guy's nose on Impact, Dakota Darsow. And this match obviously had a lot of high-flying action from Flip. Not so much from Zema. It's, you know, it was mostly from Flip Cassanova. You know, right when the match starts, Zema Ion attacks Flip. And the ending of the match comes where Zema Ion hits his awesome, you know, that awesome gut buster he does. He hits that, and then he follows it up with another move and gets the pinfall victory. So Zema Ion is the last guy to qualify for the Ultimate X match. And now we've got the Bound for Glory series match between Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. I was looking forward to this match. Great match between the two. Great, you know, Samoa Joe was actually dominating for a good while in this match. You had some Samoa Joe chants, Joe, 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 and you know, he hit the Muscle Buster at some point. Kurt Angle kicked out. Kurt Angle also hit the Angle Slam, but Joe kicked out of that as well. You know, at some point, Kurt Angle locked on the ankle lock. Joe got out of that a couple times. Joe also put the sleeper hold, and Kurt Angle got out of that. But towards the end, Samoa Joe locked on the sleeper hold once again, and Kurt Angle it looked like he was going to get out or, you know, reach the ropes because they were pretty close to the ropes, although Samoa Joe had his back to the ropes, so although he was close, Samoa Joe was kind of blocking Kurt Angle from reaching the ropes. And he was in the sleeper hold for a long time, and Earl Hebner rings the bell. Kurt Angle doesn't tap out, but Earl Hebner rings the bell, calls the match to stop, and says that Samoa Joe wins the match. So Samoa Joe is the winner, and Samoa Joe just beat a main eventer. Samoa Joe just beat Kurt Angle. That's a freaking surprise. That's a shock. I mean, when he won, I was like, holy shit, did Samoa Joe actually just beat a main eventer? Samoa Joe hasn't won a one-on-one match against a main eventer in such a long ass time. He hasn't. I was shocked. I mean, he did beat Bully Ray, well, on Impact, but Bully Ray, loses a lot of matches, although he is in the main event scene. But it was a shock to me that Samoa Joe actually beat Kurt Angle. This was actually, to me, I was thinking, that Kurt Angle was going to win, no doubt about it, but Samoa Joe wins. So that's pretty cool. So Samoa Joe now, because of this victory, is in the lead. So yeah, Earl Hebner, called a stop to the match for Kurt Angle's safety. That was what the commentators were saying. Kurt Angle was kind of pissed. He got up after the sleeper hold and was kind of pissed at Earl Hebner for calling the bell, but that's it. Samoa Joe wins, and he's now up there with 37 points, the number one guy in the Bound for Glory series. So that's definitely a shocker. Great match, guys, between the two. So yeah, so far every match has been good on this card. So yeah. And then you had the last man standing match, Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles. Another match involving two guys who've had a long time feud, or a feud in the past. Well, Christopher Daniels and AJ still, have a feud to this day. They currently are in the storyline, but as far as Joe and Angle goes, their feud was in the past. But yeah, Daniels comes out, AJ comes out. Great freaking last man standing match. You had Christopher Daniels hitting a side slam on AJ onto the steel chair. You had both guys being busted open, and they used a lot of weapons. It was a great last man standing match. At some point, when they were up on the stage, Kazarian came out. Once Kazarian came out, he just pushed AJ off the stage, and AJ fell next to the barricade. And then while AJ was down, Christopher Daniels went towards the ring, grabbed the table, and he set that table up under the stage. So he sets that up. Now AJ's up. AJ got up at the count of 8. Once he's up, he goes, on the ramp. And him and Daniels fight out, I think, for a while. Then AJ pushes Kazarian, or pushes Daniels onto Kazarian, or something like that. And I think Daniels was trying to hit a move on AJ from, the ramp onto that table. But AJ counters, hits the Pele kick onto Daniels, and then, puts him in the Styles Clash position, and he hits the Styles Clash from the top of the ramp onto that table. That was a freaking sick, spot. The table breaks, they're both down, the referee counts, and I think at 9, AJ gets up, but Christopher Daniels is still down. So AJ Styles wins the match. It was a great last man standing match. I'll be honest, I was a little bit disappointed that Christopher Daniels didn't win because, AJ and Daniels have faced off so many times, and AJ's beaten Daniels like every single match, except like for one or something like that. And, I was just hoping that this one time Daniels would win, but AJ wins once again. But it was a great match, so who cares? I was disappointed when Christian lost to Randy at SummerSlam, but hey, that was a freaking great match that the match itself made up for it, and I was happy at the end of the night. So after that match, you had Austin Aries backstage with Christy Hemme, and he talks about how Roode won his matches with beer bottles and hitting people in the head with the title, and he's been winning his matches with the Brainbuster, and that tonight he's gonna win the championship and prove why he's the greatest man that ever lived. And then right after, you had the Ultimate X match between Sonjay Dutt, Zema Ion, Mason Andrews, and Kenny King. They all come out. Right in the beginning of the matchup, Zema Ion is, using his spray and sprays his hair. And they all go after Zema Ion in the beginning. And at some point, still in the beginning, Zema Ion is on the top turnbuckle. He goes to jump on all 3 of them at the same time, but all 3 of them counter with a drop kick in midair onto Zema Ion. So triple drop kick in midair onto Zema Ion. That was a pretty cool and unique spot, with 3 guys at the same time. And the first guy actually that climbed up the ropes to attempt to take off the X Division Championship was Kenny King, I believe. But Sonjay Dutt stopped him by hitting a springboard. I think it was springboard. What was it, man? It was a springboard. Oh yeah, springboard drop kick onto Kenny King, and then ran and hit a running shooting star press onto Kenny King afterwards. At some point also, I think Mason Andrews he climbs up the ropes, and while he's up on the ropes, Kenny King stops him by springboarding and hitting a springboard spear onto Mason Andrews. And at some point, actually, in the matchup, the commentators are saying Sonjay Dutt just got escorted out, of the ring or whatever. He got out of the match. Seems like he got injured or something. I didn't see it, but he got injured. And, that's freaking sucked because I was expecting Dutt to win the match. So he's out of the match. It's 3 guys. And then a while later, Sonjay Dutt comes back. And I read on PW Insider, I believe, that Sonjay Dutt dislocated either his elbow or his shoulder. And he popped it back in and then came back out. So that's freaking insane. He comes back out. He actually starts climbing, not the ropes, but he starts climbing the steel structure behind the ropes, which is even higher. He climbs that, and then eventually the other guys see that, so they start climbing up. Well, actually, Zema Ion starts climbing up the steel structure, while Kenny King and Mason Andrews climb up the ropes. And then you've got Kenny King and Mason Andrews right next to the championship on the ropes, and Mason Andrews hits a neck breaker from the top there onto Kenny King, so they're both down. And now Sonjay Dutt is on the top of the steel structure, which is really high up. He's up there. Zema Ion is now also up there. Sonjay Dutt punches Zema Ion a couple times, and then he goes down onto the ropes. And once he's down onto the ropes, Zema Ion eventually catches up, and he also goes onto the ropes. And he actually has a spray can with him, and he sprays that in Sonjay Dutt's face, blinding him, and Sonjay Dutt falls off. And because of that, Zema Ion takes the championship, and he's now the new X Division champion. So Jesse Sorensen's wish of Zema Ion winning the championship so he can take that off him might come true now, since Zema Ion just won the championship. I had a slight feeling that Zema Ion would win the title when Jesse Sorensen said he hopes Zema Ion wins the championship so he could take it off him. So yeah, Zema Ion wins. He's the new X Division champion. After the match, Chris Hemme catches up to him and asks him, how it feels to be the new champion. And he says it feels great. He says he dedicates this to his haters, but most of all, Jesse Sorensen. He says if he hadn't broken his neck, he might have never gotten this shot. He might have never became X Division champion. And he says he's now the greatest X Division champion of all time. And that's it for that segment. This match was actually very short. It was about 10 minutes or something like that. It wasn't too long. Very quick match. It was a great match, but very quickly. I was hoping it would, last a little bit longer, but whatever. Good match nonetheless. So far, no bad matches. And then you've got Austin Aries versus Bobby Roode. They air this promo package, this video package, hyping up the match. Cool video package there. Austin Aries versus Bobby Roode. Great match between the two. It started off slow, though, I'll be honest. The start of the match was pretty slow. It wasn't that entertaining, but then it started picking up. Both guys got their moves in, their signature moves. You also had Austin Aries locking on the last Chancery submission hold, although Roode got out of that. And at some point, you had Bobby Roode putting on the crossface onto Austin Aries, but Austin Aries eventually reached the ropes. So afterwards, Bobby Roode gets out of the ring, he grabs his championship, and he tries to use it, but the referee stops him, he takes the championship off him. So while the referee does that, Roode low blows Aries, and then goes for the pinfall. The referee turns around, starts counting, but Aries kicks out at 2, and then shortly after, Aries goes for the running drop kick onto Bobby Roode while he was arguing with the referee. And he goes for the brainbuster, but Roode slips out of it and then shoves Aries onto the referee, so the referee is down once again. And then he actually hits Aries with the championship belt, wakes up the referee. He just grabs him and tells him to count. He goes for the pinfall, but Aries kicks out of that. I was freaking surprised when that happened. And then Roode went for the payoff, the fisherman suplex, but Aries, gets out of that, counters it into a roll-up. Roode kicks out, and then Aries hits a kick onto Bobby Roode's head while he's down. Then goes for the brainbuster and actually hits it, goes for the pinfall, and I'm like, okay, Roode's gonna kick out of this. But he actually gets the pinfall victory and the new TNA World Champion is now Austin Aries. Austin Aries wins the title to a freaking huge pop. The crowd was going insane. It was freaking crazy. That was definitely a surprise moment, a great moment. Austin Aries, the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Awesome, match and ending to end the show. I was good either way with Roode or Austin Aries winning. But towards the end, I was finding myself actually rooting for Aries over Roode. So, this is cool. This was a cool moment. Happy that Austin Aries is now the champion. Then there's confetti coming out from the top, and they just close out the show with Austin Aries, the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So, that's it for the show, guys. If you if you're wondering what my rating is or what my thoughts are on the show, they're definitely positive. If I gotta give a rating to this pay-per-view, I would give it an 8.5 to even a 9 out of 10. This was just a great show, an awesome show, and I'm glad, we just had two straight great pay-per-views in a row from TNA. This past month, I think ever since TNA went live, their shows have been so much greater. They've been freaking awesome. I find myself tuning into Impact, or, looking forward to Impact more than I'm looking forward to Raw or SmackDown. So, if you guys don't watch TNA, just give it a chance. If you have Spike TV or whatever, go check it out. If you don't like it, you don't need to watch it, but give it a chance, give it a shot, go check it out. It's awesome, it's definitely cool when you have, options like TNA and WWE, so if one of them at the time isn't that great, you can watch the other. If they're both bad, I don't know what you can do. I guess you can watch them ROH or something like that. But, yeah, man, great show. And that's really all I gotta say. So in the comment section, guys, tell me what you thought of the show. What do you think of Austin Aries as the new champion? I definitely, like this. And I wonder what's gonna happen now, because I was expecting Roode to hold on to the championship until Bound for Glory and, face off against James Storm. Is maybe Roode gonna retain the championship the next pay-per-view? Or is Austin Aries gonna keep the title until Bound for Glory? Now that Austin Aries is a champion and he beat Roode, I think he should hold on to the championship, because there's no real point, I guess, in having Roode win the title back when he can no longer extend this championship run, since it'd be a completely new title run. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. I'm out, guys. See you.